My dad screamed, "Get out!" And the entire family nodded along, backing him without hesitation. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I didn't even flinch. Because by the next morning, I had signed the ownership papers for a $95 million private island castle paid in full and walked away without uttering a single goodbye. If you've ever been rejected, betrayed, or underestimated by the people closest to you, hit that subscribe button. Like this video, because today, you'll see how justice isn't just served, it's delivered with precision and style. Watch closely. This story will show you the sweetest kind of vindication. I grew up in a household where loyalty was conditional, and love often came with strings. My family was proud, loud, and relentless, especially my dad. His approval was everything, but it was never freely given. My every move was judged, criticized, and sometimes mocked. And as I entered adulthood, it became painfully clear they would never truly accept me, never genuinely celebrate my successes. That weekend, the confrontation happened. I had made a decision, a life-altering one, about my independence and future. I thought they would support me or at least discuss it. But instead, my dad's rage exploded. "Get out!" he screamed, veins in his neck bulging, voice cracking with authority and fury. The family around him nodded, echoing his judgment without even a second thought. My mother's eyes were cold. My siblings, expressions blank with what I can only call collective approval of my humiliation. I stood frozen for a moment, feeling the sting of betrayal like an icy dagger piercing my chest. But something inside me didn't break. Something powerful clicked. Years of being underestimated, dismissed, and cast aside had built a reservoir of determination I hadn't realized was so deep. I didn't cry. I didn't plead. I didn't argue. I simply turned away, letting the storm of their anger wash over me as I walked out the door. Each step felt heavier, yet liberating. I could hear my father's voice fading behind me. And with each word, the world I had known began to shrink behind me until it was nothing more than background noise. That night, I couldn't sleep, not because I was worried, but because my mind was alive with possibilities. The injustice I had faced sparked a fire, a relentless drive. If my family wouldn't recognize my worth, I would redefine it myself. And I had the means to do it. You see, for years, I had been quietly building something extraordinary. Investments, assets, and ventures that no one noticed because they were too focused on tearing me down. I had money, yes, but more importantly, I had vision. And the pinnacle of that vision was a place I had dreamed of since childhood. A private island castle entirely mine. The next morning, I made the call. Lawyers, notaries, and estate planners were ready. The ownership papers for the $95 million castle sat before me, thick and official, each page representing freedom, control, and a life completely untethered from the family who had tried to diminish me. As I signed each page, a sense of satisfaction unlike anything I had ever felt washed over me. This wasn't revenge in the petty sense. This was poetic justice. The same family that had publicly humiliated me now had no power over the life I was about to live. I could leave them behind not out of spite, but because I no longer needed them to validate my worth. Walking away that morning, the castle officially mine, I felt lighter than air. No goodbyes, no lingering arguments, no attempts to soothe wounded egos. Just a clean break. A definitive severance from the people who had tried to cage me. My footsteps echoed against the polished floors as I exited the office, leaving behind the world that had tried to confine me. The drive to the airport was surreal. I didn't call anyone. I didn't inform them. My phone stayed silent, a symbol of my self-sufficiency. For once, the only voice I heard was my own, confident, unwavering, and triumphant. I remember looking out at the water as the plane lifted off. My future was sprawled beneath me like a map waiting to be explored. The wind rushed past, carrying away the resentment and pain, leaving only exhilaration and liberation. I wasn't just escaping my family. I was entering a new realm, one defined entirely by my choices and ambitions. Later, when the news inevitably reached them, because in families like mine, secrets don't stay secret for long, they were speechless. They could never understand how someone they tried to belittle and discard could simply disappear from their lives. Financially untouchable, emotionally untethered. I didn't gloat. I didn't taunt. That would have cheapened the moment. Instead, I lived it silently, internally savoring the profound satisfaction of knowing that justice doesn't always need to be loud. Sometimes it's quiet, unassailable, and permanent. In the days that followed, I explored the castle island, walking through the halls that were now mine. Each room whispered possibility, each corridor reflected independence. I felt a serenity I had never experienced in the house of my upbringing, a place free from judgment, manipulation, and unrealistic expectations. I finally realized that revenge isn't about making the other person suffer. It's about reclaiming your power. And this moment, this life, was mine in the purest sense. Thinking back, I understood the deeper lesson. The people who try to define you often fear what you might become if you ignore them. My dad's scream, the family's unified condemnation, they were all rooted in fear. Fear of losing control, fear of being irrelevant. And in walking away that morning, I didn't just escape their fear, I outgrew it. My story isn't just about wealth or luxury. It's about understanding that your value isn't tied to approval. That freedom is the sweetest form of justice. And that sometimes the most satisfying revenge isn't in confrontation, it's in creating a life so remarkable that the very people who doubted you are left behind, powerless to stop it. The impact on my family was subtle but profound. Silence replaced their judgment. Awkwardness replaced their confidence. My absence was a mirror showing them that no amount of screaming, coercion, or collective judgment could dictate the course of my life. I had not only survived their wrath, I had thrived beyond their reach. And in that thriving, I found peace. Every anxious night, every insult, every dismissal I had endured culminated in this moment. The castle wasn't just a physical space. It was a testament to resilience, strategy, and self-respect. The lesson is clear. Power and validation can be given, they must be claimed. True revenge isn't about hurting others, it's about proving to yourself that you are unshakable, unstoppable, and unbound. If this story inspired you or reminded you of a moment when you overcame betrayal, hit like and subscribe for more stories of triumph and justice. Comment below. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? And remember, sometimes the best victory is walking away completely free.